What does the freedom of money mean?
A huge part of the global population have no access to banking. That freedom of money is only via crypto. To me, that is a best use case that I've seen.
It seems like mass adoption really is coming. Binance hit 250 million users. What does it mean for you?
And if you look at the top financial institutions in the world, everyone has a blockchain crypto agenda. Of course, towards the end of the year, you have a pro-crypto president, and that has changed the narrative.
And the price prediction for 2025 for one Bitcoin.
If you look at past cycles, I think...
Welcome to the Binance Studios, where we go beyond the headlines and introduce you to the people that are shaping the world of Binance and also the cryptocurrency industry at large. I'm Jessica Walker, and today I have the absolute privilege of speaking to Richard Teng, the CEO of Binance. Richard, it's an absolute pleasure to have you here in the Binance Studios today. Thank you so much for coming by.
Thanks for having me. It's a great studio to be in. Fantastic.
I'm glad we've got the CEO's approval, which is always very important. Now, before we dive into a little bit more context on Binance in 2025, I'd love to get a little bit more of a background on your history, because as a CEO of the world's largest cryptocurrency exchange, your career history is unconventional maybe to crypto. So starting off with a little bit of a background of your career journey to get you to where you are today.
Well, firstly, I'm very honored and privileged to be handed the hot seat by CCE and the rest of the co-founders that place their trust and confidence in me. So it's a great honor to lead a very talented team in Binance in terms of building a fantastic crypto ecosystem globally. My background, my training is in accounting and finance. I started my career with the Central Bank of Singapore, and I tend to stay in a place pretty long. So I stayed 13 years at the Central Bank, doing different things, and then became the Chief Regulatory Officer at Singapore Exchange. And subsequently, I was headhunted to be in this part of the region where I was the CEO of Abu Dhabi Global Markets Financial Services Regulatory Authority. So I've been traditionally a regulator, but I got involved in crypto around 2017. When I went to the States, I got exposure to crypto, and the more I understand it, the more I believe it's going to be the future of finance and future of money. So at ADGM, we became one of the first in the world to start regulating crypto, and that's my first exposure to crypto. I'm the type of regulators that don't believe that you can regulate banks effective if you don't have a bank account. So I opened 2 crypto accounts then and started trading, understanding a bit more. So that's my first taste of crypto.
And here we are today.
Here we are today.
So one of Binance's core mission statements and values is the increase in the freedom of money globally. And the freedom of money globally, that can mean a lot of different things to different people. And I'm curious to hear for you, what does the freedom of money mean for you?
Well, I think it's a very basic concept. It's the ability to make use of your money in whatever means you wish to, in whatever part of the world you wish to, whether it be in terms of investment, payments, etc., etc. But the truth is, I've been involved in traditional finance for a long period of time, and this is a subject matter where a huge part of the global population is unbanked, right? They do not have access to the banking system, the payment system. So if you look at the data that's released by different agencies, at least 20% of global world's population are unbanked. So that is what? Close to 1.4 billion people. It's a huge amount. So, and I travel extensively to many of the developing and frontier markets around the world. And you can see that, financial inclusion is 10-20%, meaning 80% of their population have no access to banking, have no access to payment. And crypto become the only mode in which they can use for both domestic payments as well as cross-border payments. Is their only way to invest in something that's much more stable compared to their local currency that have been depreciating, right? So it represents many things to many different people. And in those parts of the world, that freedom of money is extremely crucial, and it's only via crypto. They can't do it via traditional means, right? So to me, that is a best use case that I've seen in crypto so far. And this is why we continue to push ahead with the importance of freedom of money.
And one of the most fascinating things about this as well, and you're someone that also travels regularly, is you can speak to people that are driving taxis, people that are working in different areas around the world where you do visit, and see their reception to digital assets and to cryptocurrencies, which leads us to our next question, that Binance hit the milestone of 250 million users globally. And that is, first of all, a huge accomplishment to Binance and the team, but also to the community as well. And the wider industry, it shows just how much the cryptocurrency community is evolving. So what does it mean for you? First of all, when you get the notice from the team that, Richard, we've hit 250 million users, how does that feel as CEO?
Well, firstly, I think we're extremely grateful to our community and users for placing their trust in us, right, by using our platform. And our strength is drawn from that trust and confidence, which is why we hold that very dearly. And everything we do, we place our user first, right? So in every key decision we make, we always decide, what is users' best interest in terms of making those key decisions. And I'm glad that, that has been reciprocated by our users as well. So if we look at the growth journey, it has been phenomenal. We started 2024 with 170 million users. And we recently hit, 2024 itself, we acquired more than 70 million users throughout the course of the year. So if you think about it, close to 30% of users on our platform was acquired in 1 year, in 2024. And that number continued to grow, and we hit that milestone of 250 million users. 250 million users on Binance this year. So we're very grateful for that. What we hope to continue doing is to build the best-in-class platform for our users. And that means having the best product features, having the best service to our users, making sure we listen to them, we engage our communities very closely, understand their needs, and in the best way possible, fulfill that, right? And that requires investment in a lot of areas. Operational resilience. We operate a 24/7 platform, right? And that means it's around the clock. We have to be people around the world to make sure our users are properly serviced. The investments into our security feature, extremely important in terms of wallet management or in terms of platform security to protect our users' assets. In terms of compliance, again, a very important area. So we invest very heavily into all these areas and continue to push forth with new product features. Last year alone, if you look through it, we started the year with Web3 wallet, but throughout the year, we make enhancement to many other features, whether it's in terms of copy trading, our mega drop introduction, Binance Alpha, enhancement to our Web3 wallet, Super Earn, and the list goes on. We continue to innovate on that front and make sure that new features are pushed out, are developed to really support our user journey. And that's something that we're very passionate that we will continue doing.
Absolutely. So you mentioned there a few figures. You said 70 million users last year in 2024. Also, 250 million users is 1/4 billion. Where do you think that number puts us on the adoption curve of digital assets and crypto?
So 2024 has been a phenomenon year. Started the year, we look at what is happening globally. We started the year with the approval of Bitcoin ETF and then subsequently Ethereum ETF. And that resulted in an institutional wave of adoption, right? The likes of BlackRock that went from a skeptic to a believer, pushing out crypto agenda. And if you look at the top financial institutions in the world, the top 200 of them, everyone has a blockchain crypto agenda. And that continued to evolve throughout the year. On our own, 2024 has been phenomenal in terms of the number of institutional adoption, in terms of increase, in terms of what we call KYB, Know Your Business, onboarding. Last year, we have doubled what we did in 2023, meaning we have doubled the number of institutions that join us compared to 2023. So it is a huge growth. We are seeing a lot of different institutions, be in terms of foundations, endowments, family offices, institutions that just used to trade commodities, FX, now adding a crypto desk in terms of trading. So that resulted in the narrative of what's happening. Of course, towards the end of the year, you have a pro-crypto president elected in the States, and that has changed the narrative greatly, right? Including discussion of a U.S. strategic Bitcoin reserve last year. So last year has been phenomenal, and that momentum will carry on into this year. But what we are looking to do in 2025 is to continue with that momentum, right? So both the institutional momentum and the pro-US president and US as an outsized influence globally will change the narrative and change the perception of crypto, resulting in much clearer regulations on crypto front. And all these are big positive, right, for crypto going forward.
You've reeled off a few there, but there is so many different elements and components to the crypto industry at large. And this is something which is scaling beyond most people's wildest imaginations. And it seems like mass adoption really is coming, and we're just at the cusp of that. So I'm curious to hear from you, 2025, as CEO of Binance, what excites you the most right now, and where are you putting most of your efforts as CEO?
So in terms of global crypto adoption, we are probably around 7 to 8% now, right? So if you look at the pace of adoption, it is very rapid. I mentioned that last year alone, we onboarded 70 million new users, and you can see the interest level is very high. So with that, we are going to continue to support global adoption and deployment on our platform to make sure that we can serve all the different users, serve their different needs on that front. And on the innovation front, as an ecosystem, we continue to really support all different forms of innovation, be it in terms of layer 1, layer 2 enhancement. The Ethereum enhancement is coming through by first quarter. And we see DeFi, we see different narrative. Last year was more memes. And this year, I think we started the year with AI agents being a very hot narrative. So we'll continue to look at all these important areas. But as a platform, we are agnostic. We want to be as supportive as possible to all this new innovation, because the only way for the crypto industry to continue growing is not only clarity of regulations, it's not only having better UI UX for interface, not just having the best platform, but more innovation coming through, more use cases, more utility coming through. And that will continue to support the crypto adoption and deployment globally.
So you've mentioned more innovation coming through, 2025 milestone year for a lot of reasons, of which you've mentioned. Regulation is obviously going to play a big role, and Binance really is kind of at the forefront, being the world's largest cryptocurrency exchange. So with more eyes on the industry than ever before, what are you expecting from global regulation in 2025?
So we are the most regulated exchange globally. We have now 21 regulatory approval, the latest one being Brazil, that we have acquired a broker-dealer license over there. And we are very grateful. We engage all the global regulators very closely. Last year alone, we secured about 7 global regulatory approval, including in places like India, Kazakhstan, Dubai, Thailand, Indonesia, and that list goes on. So we're very, very happy with those engagements. We will continue to engage regulators very closely. And that is one of what we are set up to do. One of my 3 commitments when I became CEO, right? To say that, look, the direction of travel is very clear. You're going to see much more compliance and regulations in this area, unlike in the past where regulations was unclear. Now we get a lot more clarity, and we wish to engage regulators very closely to make sure that, firstly, if they do not have the regulatory framework, but they are keen to develop one, we will be there to support them in terms of development. If they have a regulatory framework and wants to make sure that it's properly set up to, on the one hand, support the innovation part of it, and on the other hand, we'll give feedback on how to manage and tweak those frameworks to achieve those 2 objectives, right? And those are key to make sure that, the economy continue to develop and drawing the talent pool and drawing the foreign direct investments that's needed. So we will continue to engage very closely. We continue to invest very heavily into our own compliance program to make sure that we have the best in class in terms of things like onboarding of customers, KYB, KYC, transaction monitoring. And we engage closely with law enforcement agencies throughout the world to fight financial crimes, to deter scams that's happening in this space. So those are things that we are very passionate about, and we'll continue to engage regulators very closely. And we'll secure licenses where we think it makes commercial sense for us to do so globally.
Education is such a big role in this, as you mentioned. Working with regulators, I'm sure education in the cryptocurrency sphere is a big role. You've mentioned also when it comes to combating crypto crime, you also work with different financial agents. And there, I'm sure cryptocurrency education also plays a huge role. We have Binance Academy, we have webinars. I'm curious to hear, because there's so much to know about crypto and the industry changes so fast. Where do you go for your cryptocurrency information?
Well, I mean, I subscribe to various things, including making sure that I check my Twitter, Binance Square.
Yeah.
But I subscribe to different platforms, right? I mean, you can do that on Telegram and other platforms, so you can subscribe and read the news. I subscribe to traditional media news as well as what's happening in the traditional media, traditional financial institutions' adoption of crypto. So I get my news flow from different parts, and people feeding me news as well. People texting me all the time.
Yeah.
That is what's happening. So I get news flow from different avenues.
And you must get a lot of people that ask you about crypto, whether you're wearing the Binance branded merch or because you are a known face in the industry. Do you get people that ask you quite a lot? Have you had any nice interactions with people asking you about cryptocurrencies?
You have a lot more people asking when the price is at 90,000 or 100,000 compared to 30,000, right? So at the beginning of 2024, I spoke to my friends to say, hey guys, if you look at it, this is an attractive asset class. You should have some deployment and some allocation into this area. People just doesn't take it. By the end of the year, before the end of the year, a lot of them just approach me on their own. Is it a good time to invest now? But for any of those approaches, and I get approaches all the time, I get stopped in the street sometimes to say, what token should I buy now? But for any of those approaches, it's very simple. If you do not understand this space, take time and energy to understand first, right? And then do your proper research. And there are many different avenues that you can do research on, right? Binance Academy is one area where you can get free-to-air content, create articles in there that you can learn a lot, whether you are a beginner or very advanced learner on that front. And you have supported 44 million learners so far, Binance Academy. We are quite proud of that. So we'll continue to spend efforts on all those educational efforts globally. So take time to understand, take time to research. And if you think that this is right for you, try it out. Try to invest in a small scale to some small allocation. And the more you do that, the better you understand this industry. That's my advice to all the people that have approached me on that front.
Very good advice indeed, and especially to your friends that might be watching that are looking to ask you about crypto, because it always happens. So finally then, when we look at 2025 and possible crypto trends, I know you've mentioned a few throughout this conversation. Is there any other key trends that you think we'll see as an industry at large that will really be areas of focus or maybe pique your personal interest?
Well, I'm always very interested in use cases. So if you look at the utility of crypto, and that is what's going to make sure that crypto become very sustainable, right? President Trump has appointed an AI and crypto czar on that front. That means that these are the two key industries. And if you think through it, these are the two key technologies that every subsector of the economy will make use of, right? Whether you're in supply chain, financing, entertainment, media, real estate. And these are the two very key technologies, blockchain and AI, that every subsector will use and drive the future of every economic sector going forward. So he's very wise to make sure that he appointed that czar to look at how US can continue to harness and develop those two technology. So we are very keen to see how we can support crypto in its usage globally. There are many different narratives out there, whether it's in terms of RWA, in terms of DeFi, DePIN, and for every new thing, every new innovation, to me that's exciting and areas that we want to study a lot more and be supportive of it to make sure that the utility part of it continues to grow quite sharply over time.
Fantastic. Now, before we let you go, we do have a rapid fire question round. First question is, what is your favorite item of Binance merch?
This jacket.
The jacket, it is actually quite cool.
It is very good. And it's quite cool in the studio. It makes perfect sense during this weather.
Which is your favorite cryptocurrency or blockchain event to attend or speak at each year?
Without a question, Binance Blockchain Week is the best event for those that have not attended it. It's time to go.
There you go, guys. What is your favorite crypto term? You know, we hear the phrases HODL, WAGMI, GM.
To me, it's to the moon.
To the moon.
To the moon. It is something that we should all strive for.
How do you unwind after a busy day in crypto?
Well, what I normally do is I either watch my Netflix, or I will listen to some music to unwind. Sometimes I read a book, right? So that's what normally happens.
Nice. Will we ever find out who Satoshi is?
I firmly believe that Satoshi doesn't want to be discovered, right? So we should leave it as that.
Will we see a strategic Bitcoin reserve in 2025? What do you think?
Definitely, we're going to see one. If not, I believe Bhutan has already established one.
Yeah.
So, and that includes Bitcoin, Ether, and BNB in its collections of reserves.
How many Binance users are you expecting us to get in 2025? 2024, we had an increase of 70 million. If you had to pick a number, what would you say?
I'm going to push the team very hard on that front to onboard more users. And I want to push a strong target of that. And hopefully we'll see at least more than 100 million new users on our platform this year.
And the price prediction for 2025 for one Bitcoin?
I started 2024 when people asked me for price prediction for 2024. I said 2024 is going to be a good year and 2025 is going to be an even better year than 2024. And I firmly believe that. So if you look at past cycles, I think we'll hit an all-time high this year. So we are all looking forward to that. But the market will be volatile. So trade with caution, do your own research. This is not financial advice, but we will see all-time high this year.
And we have 3 questions from our community as well. So thank you to everyone that has submitted. We've picked some of the best. What was the first cryptocurrency you bought and why?
Bitcoin. It's the simplest one to get exposure into.
What is your favorite X account to follow?
CZ.
I thought you were going to say with the 4. And what has been your most interesting day in the office while working at Binance?
Most interesting day at the office. Every day holds new excitement. There's never, for anyone working Binance, they will tell you there's never a dull moment. So every day is very interesting for me.
Fantastic. Richard, thank you so much for sitting with you today and for sharing our views to everyone. It was really great to hear your insights.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for watching. If you have not yet already, make sure to subscribe to the channel. And as you've heard from Richard, we have a pretty big goal for users in 2025. So if you've not yet subscribed and signed up to Binance, please make sure to do so with the link down below.